The Millbrook Medal was established in 2010 to recognize those who have served the school in truly extraordinary ways. It's now my pleasure to call forward Robert W. Anthony, class of 1965, to receive the Millbrook Medal. This is fun. It's hard to say exactly when Bob's love affair with Millbrook began. Perhaps it was when he decided not to follow Brother Cy to St. Mark's, or when his parents decided that for him.
I think St. Mark's decided that for me.
Can you just stay in the moment for a second? Perhaps it, or maybe it was when Bob began to make lifelong friends like Peter Holbrook and Peter Smith, or as he began to find much success and satisfaction on the gridiron and on the ice and on the baseball diamond. And then I wonder about this incident when he and then roommate Smith were caught on the wrong side of a major school rule by Houston Gregory, a Millbrook graduate himself, turned faculty member who went on to head Portledge School. Houston gave them a reprieve. Did that benevolence play a role?
Yes, it did.
Certainly, Bob's profound respect for Mr. Pulling and his love for him and the Pulling family are a major factor. But you know, no matter exactly when, or no matter exactly how, the point is that Bob Anthony's relationship with Millbrook is a matter of the heart. In Bob's 49 years at Millbrook, 54 if you count his time as a student, the school struggled, the school emerged, and the school, as John just told you, now thrives. And he has played a central role in that progress. That required some growth on his part. From the start, Bob was Millbrook's chief friend-raiser. His good company was welcome throughout Millbrook Nation. He has been and remains the thread that connects each decade of Millbrook graduates and their families, from Alan Dodd and Henry Hayes, the school's first graduates, to today. But he would agree, I think, that his emergence as an outstanding fundraiser began with the arrival of Bill and Linda Griffin of Browning Associates. Initially, Bob was wary of the Griffins, which was somewhat understandable, as this young headmaster foisted them upon him upon my arrival. But they earned his trust as Bob and I came to understand and practice their philosophy of total development, and that every donor is a campaign unto themselves, principles that remain the bedrock of Millbrook's advancement philosophy today. Two stories may illustrate my point. Early in our work together, I recall Bob stammering a bit when asking a donor for a $100,000 gift. Certainly not an insignificant amount, but it was well within reason for that person. Fast forward to about 2 decades later. Bob was having a glass of iced tea with an alumnus and already generous donor who, between sips, committed to another $1 million gift to the school. You'd think he would have said, "Thank you." Instead, he reminded the donor of the school's ambitious plans and asked him to do more, much more. The donor agreed and then commented that that was the most expensive glass of iced tea he had ever bought anywhere. Bob and I spent countless enjoyable and productive hours on the road for Millbrook. In the process, we learned much about and from each other. Among the lessons that I shared with Bob, we needed to spend some money to make some money. Again, two stories come to mind. The first, and actually Bob conflated these stories in his remarks earlier. The first involves a trip to Florida in the fall of my first or second year. We landed at the Fort Lauderdale airport in a monsoon. When we got to the rental car lot with rain pouring down around us, I said, "Bob, did you rent Hertz #1?" Which is all covered. His response, as the ad used to say, "Not exactly." We were dripping wet for our first appointment that evening. On another trip in my early years, this time to San Francisco, I think with Sandy Podmaninsky with us, we arrived at a lovely Victorian inn late after a long day to find out that Bob and I were to share a room and a bed. Fortunately, the inn had another room available, and Bob and I each enjoyed a good night's rest so we could get after it the next day. Putting the humorous stories aside, the reality is that Bob committed himself to his craft. He raised his sights for Millbrook. In turn, he raised the sights of alumni, parents, and friends who have supported the school so generously. Those of you from 18 and 03 and in between might know that at Millbrook today, the mantra is, leave it better than you found it. Whoever, wherever, whatever it is. Another way of saying non sibi sed cunctus. This is exactly what Bob has been doing and continues to do for the school he loves. He lives non sibi sed Millbrook. We both honor and thank Bob with this Millbrook Medal. You are so very deserving.
Thank you.
All yours.
I am honored to receive this Millbrook Medal. I used to write these testimonials of the people that won Millbrook Medal, so I know how difficult that is sometimes. But I'm honored that some of the Millbrook medalists are in this chapel today. So I'm honored to be with you. I look forward to a few more years of learning my craft and doing it better. Millbrook's best days are ahead, and we have a lot of money to raise. So as Drew and Nancy would say, let's get after it. But I'm so happy to be here with all of you. This day has been an overload for me, but we're still here. So thank you very much.